is happening? Why has polio made a comeback? And what will the vaccine do to help us?
Well, there are two kinds of vaccine. The one we use in this country is a dead virus, but the one that they use in countries which still have a polio problem is a live vaccine, and we used to use that. It has the advantage that it spreads from person to person. So, it immunizes people who haven't had the actual, well, it's on a sugar lump. You take it by mouth. Now, that virus is going around in countries like Afghanistan and Nigeria, and some of it has come here. Somebody's brought it to this country. Now, that in itself is not a problem because the vaccine is quite safe. The live vaccine is quite, but what's happened is that in some people, the virus has spread maybe within a family, within a community, and it's mutated to become a little bit sharper than it should be, with the potential of causing illness. Now, the potential is a very low one, but it's a very real one. And the reason why this has happened in the UK, why it's happened in London, is that vaccination levels have been very low in parts of North and East London. And so that virus has found a population, which is good for it to spread. If we had the levels of vaccination that we should have, the virus wouldn't have gone anyway. It would have been imported and it would have died out. So the problem is low vaccination levels in some parts of London and a virus that's been brought in. We can't stop that happening, but we can stop the virus spreading once it comes here by making sure we have a 80%, something like that, coverage of vaccine, and it's down in the 50s kind of thing in some communities,
right.
Which is not near enough to stop this vaccine virus spreading around and mutating.
Right, Hugh, if I can call you that, by the way, Hugh. How is it spreading in between families? I mean, how do you actually get polio? And B, why is there such a low uptake of vaccine in some areas of London?
Well, vaccination hesitancy, or whatever you call it, is quite common in some communities for all sorts of reasons, and won't go into those. But unfortunately, it's a fact. You just have to accept that some people are much more unlikely to put their kids forward for vaccination than others, and that particular problem is because of that, and that's why we have this problem in the first place. Now, your other question.
How do you catch it in a family? Once it's in a family, someone has it. How do other members of the family catch it?
Well, I suppose you could say it's a hygiene issue, really. The virus goes into your intestines. That's where it lives. It only causes a problem when it gets out of the intestines into the nervous system, which it doesn't do very often. Even in the olden days, it didn't do it very often. But it did it often enough for it to be a real problem, as you said. And then it comes out in the poo, and if that gets into water that somebody's going to drink, or gets into food or onto food, bingo, the virus can transmit. So that's how it's getting about. We don't know precisely how it's doing that in London, because what we've been looking at is the end result, which is somebody passing the virus in their poo, going down the sewers, and then they're looking for it in the not so much in the drains, but in the sewage plants. And one thing I suppose that should be a bit reassuring is that they have not just found it at Beckton, which is a giant sewage sort of management plant, but they've gone back up the drains and found that it's in various boroughs that supply their sewage to Beckton. They haven't been able to do it any more detail than that, like going into particular streets or houses. I'm sure they won't bother doing that because they don't need to. All we have to do is make sure that the people in those communities in North and East London particularly have a good uptake of vaccine, and that will stop the virus. It'll remove the opportunity for the virus to spread because the people will be immune and the virus won't spread.